cadence of his heartbeat, a witness to the resilience of the human spirit. His days in the hospital became a reflection chamber where he contemplated the fragility of existence. The memory of the tiger shark's eyes haunted him, evoking a strange sense of empathy, as they were once pools of ferocity. The instinct to survive was pitted against the instinct to preserve life, creating a paradox. Weeks dissolved into months, and Wang Hang's wounds mended, leaving behind a roadmap of scars that traced the contours of his indomitable spirit. Gazing out from his hotel room, he saw the ocean mirroring his convalescence, its rhythmic cadence becoming a symphony of resilience. He contemplated the fragile interplay between man and nature, vulnerability and triumph. When Wang Hang returned home, he carried with him the physical scars and a profound understanding of the delicate equilibrium that governed existence. The memory of that fateful encounter wove itself into the tapestry of his life, as a reminder that the human spirit was forged in the crucible of the untamed. Harmony Bay held a piece of his soul, as its tranquil expanse of the ocean provided a sanctuary where one man discovered the untapped depths of his fortitude. In the years that followed, Wang Hang's narrative transformed into a story of survival, passed down in hushed tones by the ocean's waves, serving as a powerful tribute to the unyielding determination that emerged in the face of hardship. His encounter with the tiger shark had been a harrowing trial, but it now stood as a beacon of courage and resilience for those who dared to venture into the untamed heart of the world. In the chaos of their daily lives, they had unintentionally drifted apart. The decision was unanimous. It was time for a family vacation. The family decided on a picturesque destination, the seaside town of Picnic Point, along the Australian coastline. Sunday finally arrived, and the family was brimming with anticipation. Melinda's husband revved up the Jeep and they all piled in, ready for the journey ahead. Their destination was a few hours away, but the drive was part of the adventure. The calming sound of the waves and the pleasant atmosphere of families spending the day at the beach welcomed them to the seaside town. The family found a perfect spot to set up their picnic and began soaking in the beauty of the surroundings. While some family members strolled along the shoreline, snapping photos and sipping drinks, Melinda's family, the family, blissfully unaware of the lurking danger, continued to revel in the water. Suddenly, with swift and chilling precision, the two great white sharks launched themselves toward the family, jaws wide open. Panic ensued as the sharks attacked, targeting every family member, including Melinda's precious children. Melinda, a strong and experienced swimmer, reacted with lightning speed. She swam fiercely, attempting to shield her children from the predators. In the chaos that followed, her husband and other family members were that fateful day. The shark attack and losing their dear family member haunted them for years. The physical and emotional scars were a constant reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing every moment. Of that tragic day would never fade. They clung to the memories of their mother, grandmother, and the love they had shared. Ultimately, Melinda's family emerged from the depths of tragedy with newfound strength, resilience, and before she could react, a powerful force knocked her into the water. As she struggled to surface, she came face to face with a bull shark, its eyes cold and unyielding. Bull sharks were known to frequent these waters, but encounters with surfers were rare. Izzy knew she had to remain calm. Panicking would only make things worse. Using her board as a barrier between her and the shark, she slowly paddled back towards the shore while maintaining eye contact with the creature. The bull shark, perhaps curious or sensing Izzy's lack of fear, circled her a few times but did not attack. Every stroke she took towards the shore felt like an eternity. The beach, bustling with early morning surfers and joggers, seemed miles away. As she neared the shallows, the bull shark gave one last glance and swam off into the depths. Izzy, exhausted but unharmed, finally reached the shore. A crowd had gathered, having witnessed the encounter from the beach. They rushed to her aid, wrapping her in towels, and they saw a large fin cutting through the water, heading straight for the children. Without a second thought, she dove into the water, swimming with all her might. Reaching the children, Ellie quickly assessed the situation. The bull shark, likely drawn by the commotion, was now circling them. Using her knowledge of shark behavior, Ellie instructed the children to form a tight group and remain as still as possible. She positioned herself between the shark and the children, making herself appear larger by spreading her arms and legs. The curious and possibly hungry bull shark made a few passes, coming dangerously close. Ellie knew she had to act fast. Remembering an old trick she had learned during her research, she began to mimic the distress signals of a wounded fish, diverting the shark's attention away from the children. Drawn to Ellie's movements, the shark began to circle her instead. With each pass, Ellie could see its eyes, assessing and calculating. She knew she was in a dangerous game of cat and mouse. Using her knowledge and instincts, she continued to distract the shark, allowing the children to make their way back to the shore slowly. As the last child reached safety, Ellie felt a sudden adrenaline rush. The bull shark, sensing a change, became more aggressive. It lunged at her, its jaws open wide. In a split-second decision, Ellie used her research equipment, a sturdy metal rod, to push the shark away. The sudden resistance startled the creature. giving Ellie the precious seconds she needed to escape.
Emerging from the shadows of the murky depths, revealing its massive size. Her heart pounded in her chest as her breaths came in short, panicked gasps as she recognized the predator in front of her. A sense of dread washed over her as she could feel the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end. It was a tiger shark, easily measuring over 20 feet long, and its sleek body moved through the water with a graceful yet intimidating power. Lisa's mind raced as she tried to remember the guide's instructions on how to avoid attracting sharks, but her mind went on panic. Terror gripped Lisa as she frantically kicked her legs, feeling the weight of the ocean pressing down on her. She could feel her heart pounding in her chest, threatening to burst out of her ribcage as she struggled to gain some distance from the approaching creature. But her movements only seemed to incite the beast, causing it to move faster and closer towards her. Its powerful body sliced through the water, sending ripples across the surface as it moved with deadly intent. Lisa could feel the hairs on the back of her neck stand up as she realized that she was face to face with one of the ocean's most fearsome predators. Despite the guide's reassurances, Lisa could feel the weight of her fear pressing down on her chest like an anchor, dragging her deeper into the abyss of terror. Her heart pounded in her ears as she made her way towards the boat, her movements frantic and uncoordinated, like a panicked prey desperately trying to escape the predator's grasp. But her attempt might have had a chance to swim to safety if it was a different shark species in the water with her. But these were bull sharks, and they were hungry. Just as Michelle made eye contact with Roger, she felt a searing pain in her lower thigh, which made her shriek and fall below the surface again. The shark took the move to take the first bite, and was quickly out of the way to make way for the next mouth. The guide and the boat's pilot were trying to get the boat closer to Michelle, but it had already moved at least a dozen yards away. Roger was screaming at them to get the boat closer so he could pull his wife to safety, but it wasn't working out at all. Michelle felt another set of teeth clamp down on her ankle, pulling her under the water as a strong force knocked into her ribs, disorienting her. All at once, she felt a tremendous amount of pain as the third shark took hold of her right arm, tearing into it and releasing a red mist in the water around her. The pain was more than too much, so after expressing one final scream with the last of her breath, her consciousness started to fade. The last thing she remembered before waking up in the hospital was her husband's hands clutching her arms and pulling her up from the aquatic hell. According to Roger, Michelle was losing a large amount of blood, so the boat was rushing across the water as fast as it could, while the rest of the people on the boat helped tend to Michelle. The only reason Michelle is alive today is that among the group of tourists there was a single nurse, and the boat had a first aid kit and its essential equipment. Her wounds were bound and tourniquets were applied, but it wasn't much in the way of helping her survive for sure. Emergency services were called to the port. He began researching the best baits and techniques for catching sharks, and spent hours on his boat, scanning the horizon for any signs of a shark. He even invested in special gear, including a stronger fishing line and hooks, to ensure that he would be able to catch the shark once he found it. Toshiro was determined to catch the shark, not just for the thrill of the hunt, but also for the potential profits it could bring him. He was willing to break the law to achieve his goal, even though he knew the risk and consequences of getting caught. That is why when Toshiro heard that there had been sightings of sharks in the open waters of the Pacific Ocean, he suggested to the crew that they try to catch one, knowing that it would be a risky but potentially lucrative endeavor. The crew was looking for a big catch to make up for the slow fishing they had experienced earlier in the week, so they agreed to Toshiro's suggestion, albeit reluctantly. They set to work, preparing their gear and bait for the shark hunt. They had a large boat equipped with a powerful motor, and they scanned the horizon for any signs of a shark's fin. They knew that sharks were attracted to schools of fish, so he scanned the water for any signs of movement or activity. They also checked their fishing chart to identify areas where the water was deeper, hoping that this would increase their chances of finding sharks. After a few hours of searching, Toshiro spotted a large fin breaking the surface of the water in the distance. He knew that this was likely the shark he had been looking for, and he quickly steered the boat in its direction. As they approached the shark, Toshiro could feel his heart pounding in his chest. The crew continued to fish and work together, but with a renewed sense of caution and respect for the sea. They had learned a valuable lesson about the dangers of their profession and the importance of safety, and they were determined to never forget it. Randall had always been a daring soul, seeking out the most exhilarating adventures. The thrill of scaling mountains, gliding through the air, and even conquering the world's highest peak had all been accomplished. However, now he yearned for the heart-pounding excitement of undersea exploration. After much research, Randall chose Mossel Bay, a place renowned for its vast population of great white sharks, to try his hand at shark cage diving. The idea of being submerged in a steel cage, teetering precariously on the ocean surface while the colossal predator swam around, both fascinated and terrified him. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience that could go one of two ways: an unforgettable thrill or a terrifying disaster. The journey to Mossel Bay was long, but when Randall arrived, he was struck by its immense beauty. The cerulean waters of the ocean shimmered under the sun's rays. The coastline was a picturesque panorama of rocky cliffs and sandy beaches. The tranquil town was small, but it was clear that this place held great power, with a possibility of danger lurking just below the water's surface. Randall's excitement grew as he boarded the boat and set out towards the diving location. The cage was ready and waiting for him, and he couldn't wait to be lowered into the water. As the cage sank into the depths of the ocean, Randall's anticipation turned to fear. The water was murky, and he couldn't see far beyond the steel cage. The silence was deafening, and the only sound was the rhythmic breathing of the diving crew. Suddenly, a group of great white sharks began to circle the cage, their teeth glistening in the murky water as they attacked the steel pegs. Randall could feel his heart pounding in his chest as he watched them, wondering if the cage could withstand their attack. But as the sharks continued to circle, the cage remained sturdy, and Randall felt confident that nothing bad could happen. As the minutes ticked by, the tension grew palpable as the sharks kept circling the cage, their razor-sharp teeth bared in a menacing display. Randall and the crew felt a sense of relief when the sharks eventually stopped attacking the cage, only for their relief to quickly turn to confusion as they suddenly disappeared without a trace. In the murky waters, a thick layer of foam and bubbles made it difficult to see anything. But in the depths, Randall caught a glimpse of something that made his heart race with fear. A massive figure was moving towards the cage with deadly precision. It was coming fast, and there was nowhere to hide. As it approached, the figure became clearer, revealing itself to be a colossal great white shark. Its massive in the ocean, playing beach volleyball, and reading books under the umbrella. They ate sandwiches and fruit, enjoying the warm sun on their skin and the gentle sound of the waves. In the afternoon, the family rented a paddleboard and took turns riding the waves. Jackson and Emily were naturals, standing up on the board and paddling away with ease. Mrs. Thompson struggled a bit, but eventually got the hang of it with some help from Mr. Thompson. Charlie, the family's golden retriever, was excited to join them and barked happily as they set off into the water. As they paddled further away from the shore, Charlie started to bark. At first, the family didn't think much of it, assuming that Charlie was just excited about being on the paddleboard. As they paddled further out, Charlie began to act strangely. He whimpered and paced on the board, his eyes fixed on the water below. The family tried to calm him down, thinking he was just nervous about being out in the ocean. Suddenly, Charlie let out a loud bark and jumped off the board, diving into the water. The family was startled, but assumed he was just chasing after a fish or a bird. However, they soon realized that something was very wrong. As Charlie swam back towards them, they saw a large shadow moving beneath the water. They realized with horror that it was a shark, and it was headed straight towards them. The family froze, unsure of what to do. Suddenly, the paddleboard shook, and Mr. Thompson felt a jolt beneath him. He looked down into the water and saw a large fin disappearing beneath the surface. Mrs. Thompson and Emily started to panic, while Jackson tried to keep a level head. Charlie continued to bark, sensing the danger that was lurking below. Mr. Thompson started paddling towards the shore, with Charlie swimming alongside him. But the shark was too fast, and it quickly caught up with him. The family was terrified, but Charlie was brave. He swam between the shark and the family, barking and growling loudly. The shark hesitated for a moment, confused by the dog's aggression. Charlie didn't back down, however. He continued to bark and growl, determined to protect his family. The shark circled around the family, trying to find a way to attack. But Charlie kept swimming back and forth, keeping himself between the shark and the family. The family was able to reach the shore thanks to Charlie's bravery. As they collapsed on the sand, the family looked out at the water, where Charlie was still barking and growling at the shark. The shark finally gave up and swam away, defeated by the dog's fierce protection. The family watched in awe as Charlie returned to them, wagging his tail and seemingly unaware of the danger he had just faced. The family was amazed by Charlie's bravery and loyalty. They knew that he had saved their lives. They hugged him tightly, grateful to have such a wonderful and protective pet. From that day on, the Thompson family made sure to keep a close eye on Charlie whenever they were at the beach. They knew that he would always be that out for a leisurely swim, taking in the beauty and serenity of the world beneath the waves. Andrew was entranced by the serene beauty of the ocean as he swam further out, lulled by the gentle rhythm of the waves. The shimmering blue water enveloped him, creating a sense of tranquility and calm. The deeper he ventured, the more of the world above the surface receded into a distant memory. But just as quickly as he had been entranced, Andrew was snapped out of his reverie by a sharp, piercing pain that coursed through his body. It felt like a red-hot poker had been thrust through his thighs and was now making its way up towards his abdomen. His breaths became ragged gasps as he tried to make sense of what was happening. Andrew's mind raced as he tried to comprehend the situation he was in. He had heard stories about sharks attacking swimmers, but he never thought he would be the one to experience it. The pain was excruciating, and he knew he was in serious trouble. Looking down, he saw the unmistakable silhouette of a great white shark. Its jaws clamped tightly on his body, and he felt its teeth sinking deeper into his flesh. The shark's strength was immense, and it was trying to drag him down into the murky depths of the ocean. Andrew's survival instincts kicked in as he began to thrash and fight against the shark's grip. His muscles burned with exertion as he struggled to free himself from the predator's grasp. But the shark was relentless, determined to drag him to the bottom of the sea. Andrew's body went into shock as he felt the immense pain of the predator's bite, but his survival instincts kept him conscious. The vicious shark had mistaken him for its prey, and its razor-sharp teeth shredded through Andrew's flesh. The once calm waters were now stained with the deep red of his blood, sending a sickening feeling through his body. The massive shark refused to let go of Andrew's body, thrashing and churning through the water with a ferocity that could only be fueled by primal hunger. Andrew's screams were drowned out by the sound of the waves crashing against the shore as he fought for his life. The relentless predator's thrashing only made the mesmerizing waters of Tiger Beach in the Bahamas, a place that offered both breathtaking scenery and the chance to capture stunning shots of one of the ocean's most awe-inspiring predators, the tiger shark. As Ryan arrived in Tiger Beach, he was struck by the stunning beauty of the place. He spent several days getting familiar with the area, marveling at the incredible underwater world that surrounded him. The turquoise waters were crystal clear, revealing a world of wonder and mystery beneath the surface. As he dived deeper into the water, Ryan was greeted by schools of brightly colored fish that darted playfully around him. The vibrant colors of the fish stood out against the backdrop of the coral reefs, their movements hypnotic and mesmerizing. The sun's rays filtered through the water, casting a golden glow on everything in its path. The light danced on the seafloor, creating a magical, almost otherworldly ambiance that took Ryan's breath away. He felt as if he had entered another dimension, one where the laws of physics and reality were slightly altered. As Ryan lost himself in the underwater world, his senses were completely engulfed by the awe-inspiring scenes that unfolded before him. The coral reefs, in all their resplendent glory, had become the focal point of his attention, and the schools of fish that swam past him appeared to dance with an ethereal tune. However, he had become oblivious to the predator that was inching closer to him from behind. A shadowy presence, lurking just beyond his periphery, stalked him with a silent grace, biding its time until it could strike. Ryan was utterly unaware of the imminent danger that was about to befall him. As if struck by a bolt of lightning, Ryan felt an excruciating pain jolt through his body. A sharp, searing sensation ripped through his left leg, and a muffled scream of agony escaped his lips. His heart raced with terrible realization as he recognized the source of his torment. A 13-foot tiger shark had clamped down on him with a ferocity that made his bones quake. Its powerful jaws, lined with razor-sharp teeth, ripped through his flesh with a frightening force. Ryan's mind raced as he struggled to comprehend the gravity of the situation. His worst nightmare had become a reality, and he was at the mercy of a fearsome predator, with no escape in sight. As the shark clamped its jaws down on Ryan's leg, its powerful muscles thrashed about, throwing him around like a toy in a fit of fury. The water turned a deep shade of crimson as Ryan's blood seeped out, mixing with the salt water. The sharp, serrated teeth of the tiger shark tore through his skin and muscle, causing unimaginable agony that shot through every nerve ending in his body. The pain was all-consuming, knocking out any other thoughts or sensations, and Ryan was left to endure the brutal assault of the predator in a world of pain and terror. Ryan tried to kick the shark repeatedly, but his efforts were futile against the shark's incredible strength. In one sickening crunch, the shark bit off Ryan's leg completely, severing it from his body with ruthless efficiency. Dylan decided to take her small boat out to sea and spend the night sleeping on the waves. It was a clear night, with a full moon casting a soft glow over the water. She lay down in the boat and listened to the sound of the waves lapping against the side. As she drifted off to sleep to the sound of the gentle lapping of the waves against the hull of the boat, Magdalene was startled awake by a sudden jolt. The boat was rocking violently, and she could hear something thrashing in the water nearby. She sat up and peered over the side of the boat, trying to make out what was happening. That's when she saw it. A massive great white shark, easily 15 feet long, was attacking her boat. It had bitten into the side of the boat and was shaking it back and forth, trying to get Magdalene inside. Magdalene tried to stay calm, but her mind was racing. She had heard stories of sharks attacking boats before, and she didn't know what to do. She grabbed a nearby oar and began hitting the shark with all her might, hoping to scare it away. But the shark seemed undeterred, continuing to bite and shake the boat. Magdalene frantically searched for something else to use as a weapon. She remembered that she had a can of bear spray on board, but she wasn't sure if it would be enough to scare off a 15-foot predator. She quickly grabbed it and aimed it at the shark's face and sprayed, hoping to repel it with a strong scent. To her relief, the spray seemed to do the trick. The shark suddenly released the boat and swam away, disappearing into the darkness. Magdalene sat there for a few minutes, catching her breath and waiting to make sure the shark wasn't coming back. Magdalene breathed a sigh of relief as the shark swam away, but her relief was short-lived. Magdalene thought she was safe, but she was wrong. The shark had disappeared into the darkness, but it had not given up.
Distance. A sudden heart-stopping moment shattered their calm. A massive, shadowy form emerged from the ocean's depths, its dorsal fin slicing through the water. It was a great white shark, an apex predator of the sea, and it had locked onto their boat. In a horrifying instant, the shark lunged, its jaws snapping shut on the stern of their vessel. Just as the island appeared on the horizon, a sudden heart-stopping moment shattered the jubilant atmosphere. From the depths below, a shadowy figure emerged, its dorsal fin slicing through the water with menacing grace. It was a great white shark, the apex predator of the sea, and it had zeroed in on their boat. In an instant, the shark lunged forward, its massive jaws snapping shut on the stern of the vessel. The boat shuddered violently as the creature's immense power tore through the fiberglass hull. Panic washed over Grace, Jack, and Harry as they were thrown into the churning waters, their adventure plans replaced by a fightful. However, on this day, the sea had other plans. Without warning, a shadowy form materialized beneath the surface, a dark silhouette that seemed to defy the boundaries of nature. A sense of foreboding washed over Nancy as she witnessed the massive shape, unmistakably that of a great white shark. The shark's arrival was abrupt, sending shockwaves through the Serenade. It approached with a speed and determination that left no room for escape. Panic gripped Nancy and Robert as the enormous predator surged towards them. In an instant, all the necessary arrangements. The family was set to embark on their journey on a sunny Sunday morning. In the days leading up to the tour, Poppy went through her old bags, reminiscing about her past adventures. She carefully packed her swimsuit filled with memories of her youthful explorations and purchased new swimsuits for her children, preparing for a new chapter of family adventures. On that Sunday morning, after a hearty breakfast, the family set off for the California coast. The ocean, a vast expanse of sparkling blue stretched as far as the eye could see, welcomed them as they arrived. Most people on the beach enjoyed the shoreline, building sandcastles and playing in the gentle waves. However, Poppy's eyes were drawn to a magnificent ship anchored nearby. They made their way to the ship with bags in hand and quickly changed into their swimsuits. The excitement was palpable as they climbed aboard. The ship embarked on its journey, carrying the eager passengers into the heart of the ocean. Laughter and joy filled the air as people enjoyed the picturesque views and the ship's gentle rocking. As the vessel ventured further into the ocean, some passengers couldn't resist the temptation and leaped into the refreshing water. Poppy, too, found it impossible to resist the allure of the ocean. She dipped while her children stayed on the ship, playing with the other youngsters. It had been years since she had swum in the open sea, and the sensation of the water embracing her was exhilarating. However, as she swam further from the ship, a sudden urge to relieve herself overtook her. In the depths of the ocean, she paused to relieve herself and decided to swim further from her friends. While in the water, she couldn't hold it any longer and began urinating. Unbeknownst to her, a massive shark lurked deep beneath the surface. As the shark heard the sound of water and the commotion from the swimmers, it was drawn towards the surface. Suddenly, it breached the water, appearing right where Emma was. The shark's attention was fixed on her legs, and in seconds, it lunged and attacked. Emma felt an excruciating pain as the shark clamped down on her legs. She cried out in agony, her voice muffled by the water. The shark's sudden presence and ferocity had taken everyone by surprise. Emma's friends watched in horror as their friend struggled in the water. Miraculously, the shark released its grip and turned its attention to another target in the water. Emma's friends swam to her rescue, pulling her back onto the ship's safety. It was a traumatic and unexpected turn of events, leaving everyone in shock. The university staff had a doctor on board who promptly administered first aid to Emma. They managed to control the bleeding and gave her pain relief injections. At the hospital, doctors continued to treat Emma's injuries. They advised her to rest and recover. News of the shark attack spread quickly among the students. becoming a haunting memory for Emma's friends and the university community. The incident served as a reminder of the unpredictability of nature and the importance of safety precautions. Despite the terrifying encounter, Emma survived the shark attack, and her resilience and the support of her friends and university staff played a crucial role in her recovery along the picturesque Chinese seaside as the office holidays approached in the wintry embrace of the new year. They envisioned celebrating the arrival of the new year in a novel and unforgettable way. Excitement filled the air as they agreed to this exhilarating plan. Together, they began to pack their bags with celebratory essentials, including drinks and other merrymaking items. On the joyful morning of New Year's Day, they were all set to embark on their adventure. The duo loaded their car with bags and supplies and began their journey filled with laughter and anticipation. They stopped at numerous scenic spots, reveling in the beauty of the seaside as they celebrated the beginning of a new year. However, as they reached an exceptionally crowded part of the sea, they noticed that many families had gathered there to celebrate the holiday. Undeterred by the large crowd, Lily and Jack decided to set up a picnic area with their drinks and snacks to ring in the new year in style. Lily's adventurous spirit made her crave a refreshing sea swim. While Jack watched from a distance, camera in hand to capture the memorable moments, Lily ventured into the water alone. As she swam and enjoyed the cool embrace of the sea, she suddenly felt an urgent need to relieve herself due to the many drinks she had consumed. Unbeknownst to her, a colossal and dangerous shark had been observing Lily's movements in the distant waters. With its predatory instincts, the shark stealthily closed in on Lily, moving ever closer with each passing second. It had targeted her shoulder as its point of attack, all while remaining hidden beneath the surface. Lily was utterly shocked when she spotted the menacing presence behind her. Instinctively, she started swimming back towards the shore, but the massive shark was swift in its pursuit. Panic coursed through her veins as she desperately cried out for help while struggling to outswim the relentless predator. Lily's cries alerted Jack to the dire situation that was developing in front of him. Without hesitation, he rushed towards the water, camera forgotten, ready to assist his dear friend. He yelled for others on the beach to join him in the rescue effort. Quick-thinking beachgoers, including experienced swimmers and lifeguards, sprang into action. They grabbed whatever tools they could find to confront the looming danger and save Lily's life. Seeing the enormous shark and the dangerous situation sent shivers down their spines. Braving the danger, these courageous individuals faced the predator head-on. Armed with makeshift tools, they attempted to divert the shark's attention away from Lily. With tremendous effort and a collective display of bravery, they managed to fend off the shark long enough for Lily to escape its grasp. Lily, her body battered and her spirit shaken, emerged from the water, her cries for help turning into tears of relief. Jack, overwhelmed with emotion, rushed to her side, ensuring she was safe. It was a moment of triumph against nature's fiercest forces. Its presence sent a shockwave of fear coursing through her veins, transforming the serene waves into a survival battleground. Adrenaline surged through her veins as she instinctively paddled furiously toward the shore. The shark, however, was faster, its sleek form gliding effortlessly through the water. It circled her surfboard, its cold, lifeless eyes locked onto her. Megan's heart pounded as she felt the immense power of the ocean's apex predator. Megan knew she was in grave danger but refused to surrender to her fear. She fought back with every ounce of strength, using her fists and feet to strike at the shark. Her movements were frantic, fueled by sheer terror and the desperate need to survive. The great white shark, surprised by her unexpected resistance, momentarily recoiled. As the shark retreated, Megan continued to strike at the water around her, creating a flurry of splashes and bubbles. It was a battle of survival, a contest between human determination and the primal instincts of a relentless predator. The two forces clashed for what felt like an eternity, and Megan refused to relent. Finally, the great white shark decided the fight was not worthwhile. With a swift flick of its massive tail, it turned away from Megan and swam into the ocean's depths. Megan watched its retreating form until it disappeared, her chest heaving with exhaustion and relief. She slowly maneuvered her surfboard toward the shore, still trembling from the encounter. The beach, once so familiar and inviting, now felt like a place of danger. Megan reached the safety of the sand, her legs wobbly as she staggered out of the water. She collapsed onto the beach, gasping for breath and thankful for the solid ground beneath her. Word of Megan's encounter spread quickly through the small coastal community. News outlet Emil's struggle for survival. On the shore, Yuki's friends had noticed the commotion in the water. Panic spread among them as they realized their friend was in grave danger. They rushed into action without hesitation, waving their arms and shouting for help. Beachgoers nearby joined the effort, some grabbing surfboards and paddling toward the tumultuous scene. The collective efforts of those on the shore seemed to distract the great white shark momentarily. It turned its attention toward the approaching surfers, its massive dorsal fins slicing through the water. This brief respite allowed Yuki to regain some control. With every ounce of strength she possessed, she swam toward her surfboard, which had drifted a short distance away. As she reached her surfboard and pulled herself onto it, she couldn't help but look fearful at the shark, which continued to circle nearby. Yuki's heart pounded as she clung to the board, her eyes never leaving the menacing predator. The surfers who had rushed to Yuki's aid arrived in time, forming a protective circle around her with their boards. The beachgoers on the...